Hi everyone, I'm Emily Wishall of Wishall Wellness Live in Alignment, and I'm an embodiment coach and a certified rolfer, and this is my weekly Body Love blog. This week's blog is on open your eyes and expand your perspective. So one of my favorite reasons for being in the work that I do, for being in the coaching, personal development, even in the rolfing, where it's that I really very much think of it as personal development work, right? The more we connect with our body, the more we create space through the physical body, the more we create space for new possibilities and new ways of being. That when we are actively doing the internal work, when we're actively looking at our own inner limiting beliefs about ourselves, about others, when we're actively looking at our triggers within ourselves, triggers from others, doing that work allows us to expand our lens. It allows us to actually open our eyes to have a different perspective. And that perception shift can happen so quickly. So we tend to, I'm sure I know I've talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it in a different perspective. We tend to see life at a very physical level. We tend to see and view life from what is called cortical vision. So cortical vision is really narrow focus vision. Say you have a phone in front of you, you're on your computer, you're just in that narrow lane. You can only see what's in front of you, versus having what's called sub-cortical vision. Sub-cortical vision is when we actually are able to take in our periphery and peripheral, our surroundings. That's what's happening around us. And try that in your own body right now and notice if it feels different. Typically that cortical vision, and it's not saying one is better than the other, we need both, but it's, can we have a balance versus primarily activating only one? What I tend to notice that cortical, it's that narrow, it's more rigid, I'm holding more tension in my body. When I'm in that subcortical, looking more at the periphery, there's a softening that happens in my body and in my energetic stance. When we are so screen oriented, so in what's just in front of us oriented, it's hard to see and to understand different perspectives. It's more challenging for us then to engage in a conversation with someone else who is different than us, with someone else who has different beliefs. And as we're seeing now more than ever, this polarization that's happening, particularly within the United States, this polarization that's dissecting our country from each other, from a political standpoint, from even just beliefs of what is happening around COVID, within what's happening with the protest, particularly what I would love to hopefully bring from I'm going to say non-knowing self, just like as a white woman, but doing my best to educate myself around Black Lives Matter. And particularly like as a white woman, I only know what I see through my lens, unless I open myself up to receiving feedback of maybe I have inadvertently been racist in different things that I've said or that I've thought. And if I'm not reflected back that blind spot in myself, I can't see that, and I can't expand my lens to see how I may inadvertently be contributing. Or if I'm not actively engaging in conversations with people of color, with friends of mine, and just hearing their experiences, what they want to share, what they desire to share, or reading books. Currently I'm reading How to Be an Anti-Racist, but just reading different books or dialogues, just being engaged in the conversation is opening my own lens. It's opening my own eyes and expanding my perspective of things that I wouldn't have seen because of where I am in this framework as a white woman. And so in order to actually open my eyes, in order to be able to expand my perspective, I have to actively look for people who are different, viewpoints who are different. That is how we learn. That is how we open ourselves up to new possibilities, broaden our perspective of what's possible, and actually be able to bring about more connection and not so much division. When we are engaging solely from that cortical vision, that narrow focused, only my lens, that's where it can, that, not that conflict isn't bad, but that's where that just conflict without being able to hear each other, that comes from. That's when we just get more of the division, more of the unrest, more of the polarization. And so just try on for yourself, even just for a day, maybe for an hour after watching this video, in your own way, just starting to think of ways that your own lens has been limited, whether it is in regards to the Black Lives Matter movement, or it is involved in your own personal relationships and your own family dynamics. It shows up everywhere, but the more that we can educate ourselves, receive support in the form of coaching, therapy, a mentor, somebody who plays that role for you to reflect back your blind spots, that is invaluable. Reading different news sources, reading books that are educational, but finding ways of that resonate with you and that feel congruent and of value to you, that will support you in expanding and having a more larger periphery view and perspective, and not just in your one lane. So, my dears, I look forward to just hearing how you are opening your own eyes more, and what you're doing to open your eyes and expand your perspective, so that we all get to contribute to having a greater understanding and respect for each other, and we can stop this ridiculous unjustness that's happening and remember each other's humanity instead of only seeing our differences. So thank you for tuning in to my weekly Body Love blog this week on Open Your Eyes, Expand Your Perspective, and take care and much love.